All right, so here is our 2010 Chevy Cobalt Derby car ready to go. Stock build, although as I walk around, I'll point out a little bit more time here of what I typically do whenever I set up. Again, we do have a spindle swap. So if you see the wheels and you're keen to this year, 2010, it's a 4-bolt typical wheel. You see now there's a 5-bolt there. We do have the Cavalier steel spindles on them. Got to get rid of that aluminum nonsense as long as the rules allow it. Stock build. So again, no reinforcement. You saw the Caravan bumper up front. That is permitted in the stock class. It's not a straight stock like the MWFA, Most Wanted Fine Art, which you wouldn't want to run a girl this small unless you had no option in a class like that. But we're excited. You can see it is May 2nd, even though if you look at the weather, you wouldn't believe it. It's mid-40s as a high today. We're going with the red, white, and blue. And again, shout out to the good old US of A 250 this July 4th. Incredibly fortunate to be an American. Love whenever this car was white originally, as you can see. Great for, I just make a star pattern on cardboard, cut it out, and then just trace it with dry erase markers. Dry erase, not permanent markers, because they don't come off or the paint won't go over unless it's really dark. Just kind of trace it around the star pattern and then blue paint around it. The white's already there in the car, and then just some red stripes, and you can see that's how we get it. So we're excited. Think she's a pretty tough car. It's got a funny steering column play in it. Like the steering column just has a little bit of play in it. Kind of bizarre. I'll go around and point out different things. Again, I love setting up my ratchet strap around the seat. It not only gives you an armrest, but also it makes it so that seat, even if you have a rear bar, keeps the seat off that rear bar so you don't have a bar jabbing in your back. Again, I do the bar across the back here. Absolutely not something required, but something I would suggest. And again, as you see in the back, and I'll pop the trunk here, no wires at all. It is dead. These are the, they're mounted right here behind the speakers. There and there. I believe they're grounds. I'm not entirely sure what they are, but again, anytime I'm not sure, stock build, stock fuse box, stock wiring, I pull it forward to where it's safe. And if it's something I think is potentially ground, cleaned with the grinder, just drilled with my drill bit a hole and stuck them in there. Screws, same exact screws I had here. I just used a drill bit that was that size so that as I'm screwing down in with my socket, it's got a good enough hold that it will hold. Interesting thing with this one, 2010, first time I've had this. And if you're someone that has run the Cobalts or just cars in general, be aware of that. This is where it sat. And it was plugged in, as you see, just in the back there. Again, always unplug wires. Don't cut anything. You can pull it forward. You can wrap it around a bar like I do. The wires up front, I'll show, pull it in as much as you can in the car. Zip tie it, spray foam around it. Don't cut anything in a stock build. But whenever I unplug that, put power back to the battery. Again, always do it without power. Car wouldn't turn over. The fuel pump wouldn't prime. And even though, as you see, I have my Derby car pump, fuel pump wouldn't prime with the stock tank in it. Whenever I dropped it, same thing. I thought it would be fine without the stock tank or into the Derby tank. Whatever that is required for this car to start. So again, brought it in, I taped it, and then zip tied it as it's going to be a bumpy ride. We don't want that thing falling, potentially breaking or getting damaged, killing my ride. So looking inside, again, one of the reasons why I love the Cobalt, number of reasons. One, stock wiring, that is the ground that's in the back. You can see the original place there. Just bring it up here. I actually use an existing hole, drill it down in. Again, you can widen it with a drill, but if you need to make it a little bit wider, I actually drill a second hole so that little kind of hook can have a place there. And again, grind it down with your grinder. You want a best connection possible there, just to be smart. So that's the negative. The positive, again, runs under the seat back to the back. This car is weird. The Cobalt has the battery in the back. So I just have it there curled up and in. So you don't even have to cut any wires or run the battery lines from inside the car like you typically do with a Derby car. So that's a big kind of advantage. The gas tank as well. You see how my Derby tank, and this would work for probably most, that's just the seat bolt and bolt there, as well as mount, I should say. I go through that, and then up here, I do have one in each of the corners. You probably really only need one there. And this board, that's just kind of for balancing. That's just a wood screw to hold that there. But I just drill, again, with my drill bit down in, just a little bit smaller than the actual bolt, and then it will tighten down. And again, that tank is secure. Fuel lines running into the motor we'll take a peek at in a moment. Just show, again, the trunk. I just do, oh, it's latched. I'll have to pop it open here, but I just do a simple press up with the jack, get underneath it, press it up and around, pretty simple. Again, donuts if you have them, especially in muddy conditions like we're going to have today. We're taking this girl to the Ring of Fire, a circle track just outside of Cochran, PA. Great to have the donuts. Again, using the back as much as possible to crush her in. Stock tires, I do have a plan rather to get a pair of the DOT tires. That's what you need for the stock class, the heavier one that most guys run, but I don't have them yet. So pop under the hood here and show I have that set up. So again, under the hood, just to show, very simple. Another reason why I like the Cobalt, I have my gas line run up in. I just secure it with zip ties at different points. Also a little spray foam to secure it and keep the hood from potentially pressing into it, as that is a fuel line. You certainly don't want that cut. And then even here, I just kind of put a little bit there just so it kind of helps keep that stable. And then here, I just, the fuel line, you can actually see right there it is. I just put it behind it. I'll zip tie it so it stays there. But that's just kind of on there. I just take my saw and carefully cut right under that. Tiny bit of fuel might come out. And then I take my lines, and again, high pressure clamps, high pressure fuel line, tighten it down right there. Again, run it in, incredibly simple. Don't believe this is kind of it's a particular system that I was told isn't necessarily needed. So I don't need my return line run to that. And I fired it up and ran it for a while. And yeah, my Derby tank here, this is a 4-cylinder fuel cell out of a Camry 4-cylinder, and I've used it for quite a few, especially Cobalts. So it does have a return line. That's the fill, this is the return. I just have it looped up here and secured, and then I secured it there. I started doing this because some Derby promoters are really picky about, oh, there's a tiny bit of fuel splashing out. I started putting not only my fill, which has kind of like an airline there, drilled a hole, stuck it to where it's just like 2 inches below the car, and then I spray foamed it there just to secure it. And then again, this return, which I don't need, same thing, drilled a hole there. Is actually an existing hole there, and I just put some spray foam around it. Even if, for example, this would get busted in and that get cut, not a big deal. It would just shorten my line by like, I don't know, 10, 12 inches maybe. But that's how simple the fuel setup is. And then again, stock lighting, or wiring rather, for the lights, just pull it inside the car. This one has one running across here, pull it all the way in, spray foam it, and that is it. And you can see the core is out, the radiator is out, again, loop, and this piece right here, this thing right here, vents pressure as it builds. And again, you want a high pressure clamp here. I use just the existing one. It runs right under, just a clamp. Same thing here, see if I can get it on camera. Yeah, just the typical clamps. Never had an issue with them there. Those are original, but up here where potentially more pressure is building, always use those ones. Fill it up with water as much as possible, as well as 1.5 to 2 cups of April Fresh fabric softener. Again, I swear by it. I've had, again, I think the Cobalt, the motor's a tough little motor, takes good heat. Only negative is this airbox monster right on top of the throttle body is literally right at the front of the motor. And if you're pressing up in, you got a great run gone or some great hits in the nose or someone hitting you in the nose hard, you press into that and start damaging it. I had a one happen to me. I hit it so hard. Guy cleared the bumper, went through the core and just wrecked that piece. Cut some wires too. I had to fix it, got a new airbox, and she fired back up again. But that's it. Again, simple. And we got the excellent bumper up front. Love these babies. Caravan bumper. My weld, not perfect. I didn't clean the metal as much as I could. Again, grind a good clean surface as much as you can. And I left these stock kind of like plates on that are on the Cobalt bumper. They just bolt into those. I left it there and I welded straight to that. Haven't had an issue with that. This ground, same thing, left it there. Haven't had an issue with that. So that's how I set it up. Just simple fuel setup, the water setup there with the fabric softener. And then again, remember, especially if you take the core out, but you got to loop your lines. And again, high pressure clamps there. I have a tiny piece inside those lines, got at a local hardware store, like $2.53, and I've used them over and over. So that's how the tranny's set up. And again, this car, you talk about dumb designs, there's the tranny fill right there. It's tough to get to, but you can pick the lines up and loosen it. I put in, and I love doing this, a little bit of Lucas oil tranny treatment. I put usually like 10 squeezes in, and as you cut the tranny lines, you think about it, there's only some in the core, keeping it cool, but whenever you shorten it there, you're gonna lose some. So this car has no tranny check, like no dipstick, if you will. Here's the oil. There's no stick to check the tranny. So the only way you can do it, and how I do it, is if you're sitting there putting it in gear, You put it in gear, there might be a slight hesitation typically, but if you have a decent pause before you feel the gears grab, then you got to get more tranny fluid in it. And that Lucas oil, again, it's like a gunky thicker. And as that tranny's getting hot, as it's no longer being cooled and it's a short loop back into the tranny, having that, I swear by it. I think it helps whenever it's heating up. Grab a little bit longer perhaps. And I've definitely, in my opinion, outlasted some guys at the end. So again, pretty simple setup, hoping to have some fun. It's going to be muddy, and again, stock wheels, hopefully be able to maneuver enough to have some fun and get a good run in. I have my monster of a battery there. Again, $300, if I remember $300, you're like, wow, that's way too much. 3-year warranty. Right before the 3-year warranty is up, take it back, get yourself a brand new battery. So I would say it's at least a 6 to 8, maybe even longer investment. So if you're someone that's derbying and gonna derby for potentially years or just a number of times, that baby takes heat, that baby takes a pounding, and it is worth every cent in my opinion. And you can have a great car, you have a battery go junk on you, and you're out of luck. There's nothing you can do. Last thing to point out here, wrapping up, I know I'm going a little longer, but this one I actually started building last fall, or end of summer actually, thought about running it, but my son, we ended up throwing his car in one more run and ended up having some good fortune and a great run. So this one I parked, so I kind of capped that video and took it off my phone. I didn't have the space to keep it. So this one, the only negative, you see underneath there, again, these Cobalts, pretty clean at the wheels, especially with the steel spindles off the Cavalier. And again, if you don't know how to do that, I do show in this build in particular. I spent more time showing that. Pretty simple if you got the Cavalier spindles to put on. Aftermarket ball joint and everything else is from the Cobalt. I just have to adjust it a little bit, but a lot of rust under these cars, in particular all cars, but the Cobalts, man, they rust bad under there. Not as bad rusted as my car last year, my 07 black one we ran. Ended up very fortunate and she outlasted, but she was folded up pretty good at the end. Chain, again, I just do a simple chain there for the divider, and that is her. So 2010 Chevy Cobalt stock build, but again, took out the core, have the steel spindles on from the Cavalier, so much tougher at the wheels. Still got to protect those wheels. Again, if you're someone new to derbying, you got to protect the wheels. Hard hits to the nose, they can hurt you. If you have a good bumper like this one, the frame rails are pretty decent on the Cobalt Cavalier. Not as good as the Honda or Toyotas, obviously, but you can hold out. So little breeze as we finish. The stars and stripes, excuse me. But hopefully a fun time and a good run.